Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Centurion's Review, the punk rock band of war game review institutions. This is Ambush at Landing Zone Albany from the number 24 of Modern War, July through August 2016. I will not be reviewing this game because I don't like this game. I mean, I have reviewed games that I didn't like, but this is to the point where I just don't. Normally, when you review a game, you play it anywhere from 5 to 10 times. I don't want to play this game 5 to 10 times, so I'm just going to do a brief overview of it. I'm not going to do a review of it because I don't like the game. So let's just go over the sequence of play. Or actually, let's go through the rulebook first. Alright, rulebook here, it's pulled out of the manual. Starts going over the components and stuff. The counters do look good. The artwork's pretty interesting. My complaint with the counters is the US units and the NVA units, if you take a quick glance, don't look that different. So I wish the NVA units had like more red on them or something. It's just that you just can't tell the difference on a quick glance. But the artwork is nice though. You have units, you have officers. Each stack can have a maximum of one officer. Actually, it can have more, but only one officer will count, and an officer generally gives you one extra die roll, and 6 is hit in this. These are your fire and move chits. Actually, one side says fire, one side says move. Each side has their own color of those, and the colors are really similar too, so those are hard to differentiate too. I mean, someone who's colorblind wouldn't be able to differentiate them. I'm not colorblind, so I can differentiate them, but anyhow, I wish the fire and move chits, they're supposed to be for different groupings. Let me show you the groupings here. U.S. Unit groups are these units, and here's the NVA unit groups. I wish the fire and move chits just said what units each one activated. I don't know, it just would have made it a little bit easier to keep track, but that's just my personal preference. All right, and there's a victory point schedule here. The U.S. Gets victory points for killing certain NVA officers, NVA units controlling LZ Albany, or for the NVA retreating would give you 3 points. And the NVA wants to kill Lieutenant Colonel McDade. U.S. officers will give victory points. Each U.S. unit gives victory points. Reduced units give victory points. Oh, and each unit takes anywhere from 4 to 5 hits to kill. So they're kind of like... it's trying to simulate. The NVA is 4 steps to kill, and US is 5, but it doesn't have a second chit for each unit, so you're putting these stupid numerical tokens on the chits to keep track of how many steps have been hit, which is kind of weird. I don't know, I just don't like it. There's an NVA automatic. Oh, there's some other things the NVA can do to get victory points. They can control LZ Albany, or if they do wounds on units. I think if I recall correctly, after the 4th hit on a U.S. unit, it's wounded. And let's see what else here. And they can get 2 victory points for initiating a melee in Landing Zone Columbus, which is off board, but there's ways to get your units off board from there. And the NVA gets a automatic victory the moment they earned 35 victory points. In the case of a draw, the player controlling LZ Albany is the winner. So here's your sequence of play up here. You have a reinforcement phase. Reinforcements depend on the turn, what you get. An event phase for each side rolls for that for a special event. And there's an action phase. That's where you draw the chits to see which groups move and on which side. And there's a rally phase and an administrative phase. All right, so here it's going over movement. And then ranged infantry fire. Essentially, if you're firing in an adjacent area, that's ranged infantry fire, or if you're firing them. And then there's special rules for the mortar firing. That can fire more than just adjacent away. It can fire further than that. And there's artillery fire, gunship attacks. You got to wait till gunships are available, though. And it's got a napalm attack procedure. And here's an example of play here. And it's got some more rules here. And then there's some night rules. At night, You have to use spotting and flares and stuff if you're the US player. All right, let's take a look at the board. All right, so the right side of the board has the sequence of play printed out here. That's a good idea. And it has the Choi Oi table, which apparently in Vietnamese that means surprise. Those are the special events that are played at the beginning of each turn. And available flares are up here. And here's Landing Zone Columbus. And on the left side here is where you keep track of the victory points. And here's your turn track here. There's LZ Albany. And as I said, that's the off-board Landing Zone Columbus. Even though it's off-board, the NVA can still get there by moving onto the east part of the map, in which case, I think after they get off the east part of the map, they go there, and then the next turn they move here. And if you take a quick look here, here's some of the US units. Here's one area that has US and NVA units. So at a quick glance, though, it's hard to tell the difference. I mean, it does have an NVA flag there, and that has a US flag, but I don't know, I just felt like they needed, I don't know, something some kind of color change to make them look a little bit different. But my main problem with this game is not much happens during the turn. When you activate a group, it can either move or it can shoot. And after playing this, I read the errata, and it looks like if you move into an area with another, with enemy units, then you can immediately do a melee, which wasn't actually written in the rules. It's just written in the errata. But yeah, I mean, this particular game here, I'm in the middle of the second turn. No units have been killed. I don't know. It's just one of these games where nothing seems to happen, so I'm not interested in reviewing it. Just wanted to show you guys this game. I don't know, maybe you guys have played it and had a better experience with it, but the game's not for me. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening.